In this video, we're breaking down how to get better at knowing who to set in the game of volleyball. Let's get right into it. Setters are the quarterback of the game of volleyball. They run the show, they run the offense, and they get to decide who gets the ball to put away those kills. Now, that's a big responsibility, so you have to know who you got, who your players are. And this video, we're gonna help you understand when to set which players in different scenarios. So let's get right into it. I believe there's an order of operations for setting. There's a layer of 7 different things that you have to go through in your head as a setter on who to set. The first one being setting the best player. It's going to be your best decision to set your best player if you want to get a kill. Now, it's not to say that every single ball is going to go to your best player, but your first option to get a kill when you need one should be setting your best player. Number 2, set the hot hand. Usually in every game, you'll find a player who's seems to be on fire for whatever the reason. They can't get blocked. Like maybe they're getting a lot of tools. Maybe they're just finding ways to will out some kills from the front row, the back row. Even on maybe a poorer set, they're finding ways to terminate. If your best player's not rolling, make sure you're setting the hot hand a lot and giving them a lot of reps. Number 3, if you have a mismatch, you want to make sure you target that. Maybe if the opposition is a smaller attacker or someone who's not as strong, moving laterally left to right, finding out who that is right away is your job as a setter. Identify who that person is and then target that mismatch when it makes sense. Number 4, we're always looking to get one-on-ones. It's the setter's job to find one-on-ones, and when you give your hitter a one-on-one opportunity, it's their job to then terminate the ball and put it away. And if they can't do that, then maybe that's someone you're not going to set as much. But if you can get one blocker against your attacker, that's going to be favorable in most cases, and you do your job as a setter when you can get those pretty frequently. Number 5, we talked about this in the past, but it's all about reversing the flow. Have your best guy established. Maybe you've been feeding the hot hand, but now you want to make sure you're keeping the blockers honest. Maybe they're hedging 1 or 2 guys to that best player, so sometimes you have to throw that ball back or set the long set, reverse it, keep them honest, and make sure you don't have 4 or 6 hands in front of your hitters when you need to side out. Number 6, this is all about the layered set. The layered set is when you have an attacker come in the vision of the blocker, so they see that first route and then you set the second route, whether it's a ball whether it's a red ball, a D ball, B or C ball, or a BIC. Layering is all about making the defense see one thing and then setting the other way. So it's kind of similar to reversing the flow, but it's a little bit more on feel from the setter position. And the last one, number 7, is about your high percentage attackers. We have people on our team, we have guys in our gym that just tend to hit at a high percentage and find ways to put the ball away when you need them. That may be your best player, it may not be. But when the game is on the line, you need a guy you can trust to put the ball down. Sometimes that's your best guy, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the one-on-one option, but you know they hit at a high clip and they are trustworthy to put that ball away. So finding that high percentage player when you need a kill is just as important as the rest of these numbers on the list. So with that, let's get into film and dive into some of these areas. Number 1 is all about setting your best guy. You can see this clip here. We got a pretty much perfect pass from Devin, and Joe's got all his options here. He's got Poe running on a middle route, coming around. He knows he has Diego back here, one-on-one, because Pogue's doing a great job of holding this blocker. And then Will on the outside. At this point in the set, finding your best player in a one-on-one scenario tends to lead to kills. It does. Joe makes the right decision here, sets an inside ball to Diego, and Diego's just too strong and powerful and puts this ball away. And it's as simple as that. Your most powerful attacker, you need to make sure when you get a good pass that you're giving them the ball and you're making good sets. So they have options. This is the right choice here. This is a good route. This is a good pre-route communication. Diego does the rest. Simple as that. All right, number 2 is about feeding the hot hand. And this could be anyone, but once you kind of see someone get into a groove, like I said earlier on, make sure you're going to them when you need a side out. In this game against Messiah, we were down 3 points at the time and really just need a side out. And one of Diego's favorite sets to make was our senior opposite, Luke Morris. And when Luke got hot, it was pretty much a side out most of the time. And that's no different on this play. Diego gets a one-on-one and Luke just hits that ball hard in the seam and finds the kill. It helps when you get a 3-option pass like Will gave here. He's got all his options. Pogue coming in on a 1 ball, Devin on the opposite, on the outside, feeding the hot hand, can't go wrong with it. And also don't feel like you can't set a guy multiple times. Just because you set him once doesn't mean you can't double set, doesn't mean you can't set him the next rotation. The higher up level setting you get, the more you realize that repetition is actually a strength in the setter position. The more you can set a guy that's doing well for you, why not? Number 3, all about finding a mismatch. In this match against Messiah, Mason Moore, senior middle, was just a little bit too athletic for his opponent here, and he was being creative all night and just turning and finding ways to use his athleticism to his advantage. When you kind of find that mismatch there, you got to take advantage of it. Diego knows that just as well and finds him one-on-one here, and Mason just puts this ball away. But point in time in the game here, 21-24, Diego knows we need a kill, knows we need a side out, and trusts that this is going to be a one-on-one, and Mason is able to terminate against a mismatch here in this blocker. As a setter, you have to understand everything that's going on. You need to know the score, you need to know kind of what your side out percentage is looking like, and Diego understood that in the moment and was able to give Mason a good ball here and find us a side out. Number 4, all about one-on-ones. This is one of the biggest pieces of being a setter. Getting one-on-ones, making sure you set with tempo, good pace, understand where all your routes are running so you can find that open guy, that player that's gonna give you a good chance to get a kill. This play's no different here as we get a 3 pass from Devin, and Joe has a good route combo here with Mason going on a gap where he pulls the middle, so he knows he has one-on-one here with Johnny on the outside and the opposite blocker. Johnny's able to swing high, go off the hands, and find a kill here. But this is good decision making from Joe, just knowing the situation with his cadence on his step. He's up in good time, which forces the middle to come and collapse here. You know, this is a pretty common route in the game of volleyball, the gap and the shoot kind of linked on top of each other. It's really tough for the middle to block both of those routes. So knowing that, Joe makes the right choice. Johnny puts the ball down. Easy peasy. Number 5, we're talking about the reverse flow. This is also something I bring up a good bit, and it's something I heavily favor for setters that I coach. The ability to set the long set, reverse the flow, make it tougher on the blockers is going to get you a lot more assists and a lot more kills. Blockers don't want to go all the way to the pin. Middles especially don't love going back and forth all day. When you can do that consistently and still give your attackers really good balls to hit, you're going to win. All right, we see here a free ball come in, and Darvin comes up and takes this ball, which frees up Devin to transition on his route, and this ball kind of brings Diego back a couple steps. You see him backpedal once, and that backpedal not only takes out this outside blocker on Messiah, but also Pogue's timing on his route takes out the middle blocker here. So Diego knows if he reverses this ball out to the outside, he's got a good one-on-one with Devin, which, you know, we'll take those one-on-ones with our pins all day long. Diego puts up a great ball, a little more inside, but right where Devin needs to attack it, and he hammers this ball home, gets us the kill. Really kind of an exclamation point to start off the match. At 0-0, you want to set the tone, got a good kill early, and Diego finds Devin to put that ball down and do exactly that. All right, number 6 is all about the layered set. This is more advanced concept that isn't as easy to see all the time, but higher level setters definitely understand what this means, and it's basically making the delayed set. So if you have a route coming in, a quick middle, letting the blockers see that and then go elsewhere. Maybe they see the bit come in and you set the outside. Maybe they see a back one come and you set the pin. Finding ways to trick their eyes and then go elsewhere is going to be a really good bet. So you can see that in this play here is a 3-pass from Devin on an easy float serve, and Mason's has great timing and he's up early, which is kind of that first layer of sequencing for the blockers. And then Joe sets a quick tempo back to Diego, who puts this ball down and sides out for us. So this is kind of a nuanced piece here, but the more you can layer routes and show one thing and then set the other thing, I think that is a tremendous success rate and converts to a lot of kills. And lastly, setting your high percentage attackers. If you have someone that's hitting, 300, 400 plus, you got to find ways to give them the ball. If they're a middle, if they're a right side, doesn't matter who they are. Basically, if they're a trustworthy attacker to put the ball down when you need a kill, then that's someone you need to go to in a high leverage moment. Yes, sometimes it's great to dish the ball to the pins over and over again if they're playing well, but you also have to establish the middle, especially when your middles hit at a high percentage. So finding ways to go to your high percentage guys in key moments to establish that middle, free everything else up. Those are the 7 keys, and those will help you get a lot better at knowing kind of the operations of where to go. You want to set your best players. You want to set the hot hand. You want to get one-on-ones. It's always good to reverse the flow a little bit, set the long set. But at the end of the day, you want to make that set that you trust. You want to set players that you have belief can put the ball down. If they kind of break that trust, then maybe you don't set them as much, but that doesn't mean you completely break it off. You still have to trust your hat. You have to trust your hitters regardless of the level they are, regardless of what they're hitting. I firmly believe that finding balance and finding good distribution amongst players makes you the best setter and sets you up for a lot of success in games. So this is kind of my philosophy on decision making, on who to set. This is kind of the entry-level version of this overall conversation. I know things change when you get out of system. A lot of these passes were somewhat perfect passes, and when you get pulled off the 10-foot line, it might change who you set. It might change who you go to. It might change when you feed the middle, so on and so forth. But this will get you started. This will get you going and get you in the right frame of mindset, so you're not just, setting opposite, outside, middle, opposite, outside, middle. Like, it should never be the same combination every single time. There should always be a level of variability to keep the defense on their toes. That's what it's all about. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Lots more coming, so stay tuned, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.